and I don't want to like drag you through your whole chronology, but I know about your early life, so maybe there's a couple things we could touch on there.
Sure.
So like I know that you're from a very musical family.
Yes.
And that's what led you into gigging. Basically, you were gigging in bars about like what, 14?
Yes. So yeah, my stepdad, who is I consider my real dad, David Atkins. He is an incredible multi-instrumentalist that, I was lucky enough to grow up around him. So I guess, my background is my uncle was a session sax player, Jay Scott. His big claim to fame was he played the sax solo, and I Love the Nightlife by Alicia Bridges. That was him.
Oh, disco, yeah.
Yeah, the last disco hit.
That was
Alicia
last.
Bridges was actually a country artist. They converted over. And he did hundreds of sessions, and then David did, and my other uncle, John Rainey Atkins, was guitar player that played with like Roy Orbison.
Really?
He was there. His Roy's original band was the Candymen, and which was my uncle John Rainey, and then eventually John Rainey and my dad David had a band called Beaver Teeth that was signed to RCA.
I read about that band.
Yeah. And they were two Beatles for Southern rock fans and two Southern rocks for Beatles fans. It was a very cool sound they had going. It was very melodic, very 70s, but had a lot going on. But yeah, so when I started playing bass around 10, it wasn't because of my cool musical family. It's because of film and TV, like. Most kids, I think, of our generation would have got into it. And I heard Green Onions by Booker T in the movie The Sandlot.
Mm-hmm.
And it freaked me out. And I asked my mom what that sound was, that low sound. She goes, well, that's a bass. And that's what my grandfather played, J. Paul Scott. And he played with Ella Fitzgerald and
That's
Mel
incredible.
Torme and all this stuff.
Mel Torme, that's right, yeah.
And so she was actually, they were really she was extremely happy I wanted to start playing. And she somehow found this Epiphone bass that was like a short scale somehow, like very lucky, like magical. But back then she found she didn't even know what she was buying, but she bought this short scale Epiphone student model from a pawn shop for like $50. And like most 10-year-olds, I was still obsessed with sports and playing football and basketball and watching pro wrestling and all this. So I learned Green Onions and the Tighten Up because my mom got me this Atlantic Soul CD.
Cool.
Which, looking back, Atlantic Soul was the same thing as Memphis.
Yeah.
I later in my years learned it was the same thing. But
Jerry Wexler made the connection, yeah.
Exactly. Well,
and he ripped off.
Yeah, he bought. Yeah.
Yeah.
He ripped off everything. I got into music, and then I fell out of it because I really in my head thought, well, I just figured out these songs, so I don't need to do anything else. I've already figured the instrument out. And that's what I thought. And I never forget these. I was having a birthday party, and all the kids were over. They're like, "Oh, come play your guitar." And I was like, "Oh shit! I don't know how to play this thing really." But I remember still doing improvised solo bass set at age 11 or 10, and not just to. I mean, in my mind, it's probably I don't really remember. I kind of remember what I played, but it's probably the greatest thing I'll ever play. To this day, I mean, there are the most, the most pure thing I probably ever played.
Yeah, I remember having that feeling as developing with my instrument, and somebody I remember my dad one time being like, "Hey, let's hear something on that thing," and being like, "I think I just ran out of things to say."
Yeah, it's pure. And that's what it's kind of what you're always trying to go back to. But so then. For my 12th, when I was 12, I got serious, and David was, my mom married David when I was 10. So he was real supportive, and I got this. I saw that. Well, actually, I haven't really talked this in other podcasts because I always forget. But there was an episode of that show Pete and Pete that they started a garage band,
Okay.
and I was like, "Whoa! I need to get back into music," you know, over this episode of Pete and Pete, and then about the same time I saw the Blues Brothers for the first time, and
The
that
Stax
was it.
fan.
That was it. I mean, that was. But again, it was Duck Dunn.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
Steve Cropper
and-
and Booker T.
So the Memphis connection for me is
Yeah.
insane. Looking back, it was like Memphis music is why I started playing.
Yeah, man.